pleasure to come and talk about Durand Education Foundation. It's kind of my second life here. The foundation has been underway now about 5 years, and we've made some remarkable accomplishments in 5 years. One of our first big gifts that we received was for girls athletic fund. And last year, a gentleman came to me and said, "We have something for girls. Why don't you have something for boys?" And I said, "Well, it takes a fairly sizable donation for us to be able to set up a separate fund and manage that, independent of our other funds." And he asked me how much money, and I threw out a figure, and he said, "Well, let me talk with my accountant." And a few weeks later, we got a check, and we're able to open up a fund for boys athletics. So we've been able to fund some special projects, like last year we funded a weight sled for the football team. Apparently it worked a bit. They had a few winning games this year. I was pleased to see that. So it's exciting to be able to do things for the educational community, and that's what we're all about. I don't know if you probably received, many of you received a newsletter because you're on our mailing list, but if not, I'll send these around so that you do have one. It covers, this was our August newsletter, and it covers some of the things that we did this past year. In addition to awarding grants for educational projects, we also recognize distinguished alumni that have graduated from Durand High School. In August, we recognized two people, Julie Morin and John Yankee. Julie, I believe, graduated in '66. She is a hospital administrator at Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio, and she was responsible for establishing a program that actually brought health care to children across the world. She actually worked in 76 different countries that identified needs for kids that were underserved and unable to be treated in their home country, and they were brought to the U.S., and the Cincinnati Children's Hospital met their individual needs. So she was definitely a remarkable candidate. The other was John Yankee. John is a musician from Falmouth, Massachusetts. Very active in his local community, but he's a composer, an arranger. He has some of his own music published, and obviously he got his start in the Durand music program, so another remarkable individual. One thing that was very lovely about our reception that we had here at the depot is John had planned to bring some recorded music, and he forgot to bring it. So jokingly, one of our board members said, "Well, I guess you'll have to sing," which he did. So it was really wonderful entertainment as well, and made for a wonderful afternoon here. The reception that we host here has somewhere between 70 and 80 people that attend that, including family, classmates, and friends. So it's a nice afternoon. Soon I will be putting up the application form for 2019, so if you know a Durand graduate that's eligible to, or that you think should be recognized, please submit an application. We get quite a few every year, but we do also hold over for 2 years, so people are eligible for 3 years once we receive an application. If someone was submitted prior to that, their name can be resubmitted again and go back in the pool. So it's always nice to have a nice selection of people, and there certainly are a great many Durand grads that have gone on to do some amazing things, so it gives us a lot of pleasure to be able to recognize them. We do have a showcase in the high school down near the gym, so if you're ever in the building, you might want to take a look at that. There's a plaque that recognizes our 2 annual folks, and then another plaque that just has the names of the winners from each year listed on that. So that's one of the exciting things that we do. Probably the other exciting thing that we do is fundraise. We do a lot of that. Our donors are primarily solicited through mail campaigns and through activities that we host here in the community. Last weekend we did a Build a Scarecrow, and we did that at the old Citizens Drive-Through Bank in conjunction with the city's Fall Fest. We charged $1, and we had all the supplies so people could build a life-size scarecrow and take it home with them. And we were pretty busy considering the day was a cool day, and, you know, the event had been postponed from the week before when it had been rained out, so some people, I'm sure, were confused on the date, but we had a nice day doing that. The next activity that we have coming up is trivia. I know a few of you here at the table have played our trivia nights. We will be having our November 2nd trivia at the VFW Hall. Even if you're not a real trivia buff, I think you'll find it's a fun evening. The VFW Auxiliary puts some food together, and they actually do a pretty phenomenal meal. Everything from sandwiches to an entree, salads, desserts. That's at an extra cost, but the cost to play trivia is only $10 a person. And that goes to our fund that covers our grants. I do have a flyer. Please take one if you, and if you have a place where you can post it, please do. And if you can attend, there's a number on there to text or call so that you can attend our trivia night. It's a lot of fun. Anyone have any questions for me about the foundation or anything that we're doing? Yes.
Can someone be deceased to be nominated?
Pardon me?
Can we nominate someone who's deceased?
We can, yes. For distinguished alumni, the person can be deceased to be nominated. So. Anything else?
Jane, want to give some of the examples of what you funded last year?
Well, actually, let me tell you what we just funded last, 2 weeks ago we met, we funded almost $1,800 in grants. We funded Scholastic Week, which is kind of like, for those of you that are old timers, Weekly Reader. Remember Weekly Reader? Well, now that's stepped up a major step. It has a lot of things that are tied to core curriculum for kids, a lot of activities, classroom activities, and so on. We funded that at Robert Kerr School. I'm not sure the exact amount. I think it was somewhere around $500. We funded the blanket making project at the high school. This is when, after the kids in English class study about the value of giving and giving back to the community, they do a project, and the project that they do is they make blankets for the needy. We fund a lot of the supplies for that so that they can make the blankets, and then those are given out to a combination of things. FFA does a project where they do the adopt a family, and they do a couple families. Some of the blankets go in that, and then some of them just go to the local area for folks that are needy. And the kids enjoy making those as well, and it's a fun activity and a nice project, so we funded that. Let me see, at the middle school, we funded a project called Global Read Aloud, and the students in the English, one of the English classes, are working with a school in New Jersey, and I believe another school, I think it may have been in Quebec, and they are reading the same book, and then they are discussing it online or through FaceTime, getting acquainted with the kids in the other communities and seeing, you know, their similarities and differences in the classroom, so the kids actually interact with the other schools that they're working with. And we funded the purchase of the books for that particular project. Let me see, there was a fourth project, which I can't remember right offhand, but it was another Robert Kerr project.
Did you donate to Kerr Kids?
Pardon?
Did you donate to the Kerr Kids?
We do donate to Kerr Kids. That's a project that we haven't donated to it this year, but it's a project that helps needy families, particularly with things like clothing, boots, shoes, other things that they may need. For example, if kids are not getting to school on time and the school finds out that they don't have an alarm clock in the house for kids to wake up, they provide whatever, those kinds of things. So it's a helping hands kind of project. Also hygiene project, or supplies that are not covered under, you know, the bridge card and things like that. So we've covered that. In the past, last year, we sent kids a group of English students to Wharton Center to see The Great Gatsby. We sent kids to the Cleveland Science Museum. So it's a whole variety of projects that wherever a teacher or even a staff member that's working with kids, if we have somebody that's volunteering to work with kids and they need supplies or materials, we help try to supply those. We do also partner, so we will partner with any other organizations like the PTO groups. 2 years ago, we partnered with the Bertha Neal Parent Pack Group to provide an IMAX theater presentation that was actually educational. It was based on the core curriculum, and it was quite costly, but it was one that involved all of the kids at Neal, and the PAC wasn't quite able to fund that, so we were able to supplement and help them out, so that was able to be provided for all kids. So we work with booster groups and parent groups as well to do whatever we can to supplement the educational process here in Durand.
So how much do you have in endowed funds now, and about how much do you have to spend every year? How many funds are available?
I'm not sure. Last year, I think our spending was somewhere in the round of $14,000. We take in a bit over that every year, so we are building an endowment at the Shiawassee Community Foundation, and that endowment allows us to will allow us to keep projects going here in Durand. If we have a lean year and we don't take in a lot of contributions, we'll still be able to fund projects. It's our hope that eventually we can build that endowment big enough so that when I retire and I'm finished with this project, we'll be able to fund it for years and years just based on that endowment. So it's very helpful for us to get that built up and underway.
How big is it now?
Pardon me?
How much do you have in funds now?
We have a little over 100,000 in the endowment right now, which is pretty remarkable for a 5-year program when we've been able to fund what we have as well. We do move money to it periodically. We keep our money here locally. We keep our money at SageLink, with the exception of those big funds. And those we do keep at the Community Foundation because the interest rate is so much higher. They have millions of dollars that they pool together and invest, so that the interest rate there is about 4.5%. So that gives us, last year we didn't take our interest, we just reinvested it. But if we were to use the interest, we could fund a couple, 2-3 grants just off the interest every year right now. And hopefully we can make that fund larger and continue to do that.
Do you have a matching fund program going on right now?
We do have a matching fund program right now. We had a donor come forth, a Durand grad, offered us $10,000 if we could match it by the end of the year. My last report is that we're about at 9,200 right now, so we're very close to meeting that match. If you play trivia with us in November, that should take us up to our match and be able to collect that. And those matches are absolutely wonderful because, if a person gives $20, it means that we have $40. If they give 100, we get 200. If we get, if we fall short, we just don't get the full 10,000 from the donor. So far, we've had 4 times I think that we've had matches like that, and each of them have been 10,000, and we have been able to match it every time. So it's a great opportunity for us, and it's so nice to be able to put the money back here in our local community and help Durand kids. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.